My name is Amy Lyle, and I live in Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. I am a mom, I am a social worker, and I am a parent of a non-binary kid who uses they, them pronouns. And I'm also a proud active member of the Human Rights Campaign. My allyship journey began back in November of 2015 when a little first grader in our small village was going to be transitioning to her authentic identity. And the teachers at our elementary school had a wonderful idea to read the book I Am Jazz as a way of explaining to her classmates why she was going to be changing her name and going by different pronouns. And someone found out about the reading and contacted a hate group who threatened to sue our school district and individual teachers. So the reading was unfortunately canceled, but understandably canceled. And as a community, we decided to read the book anyway. So we hosted a reading at the local library and didn't expect a whole lot of people to show up, but just wanted this family to know that that was not reflective of our community, that we support diversity in our community. And nearly 600 people showed up to the library on this super cold Wisconsin winter night to support this little girl and her family. And that changed my life in the best possible way. So to me, being an ally and allyship is an action word. It's something you do. And it means always learning for me and listening to the community that I am trying to be an ally to. It means learning from others' lived experiences and not trying to recreate the wheel. It means partnering with groups and organizations and members of that community who know what they need and what kind of help that I can provide. And so I think of it as standing alongside and with other people and really making sure that I'm tuning in and making sure that my actions are supportive and are things that are actually needed, and that I'm not accidentally or inadvertently speaking over anybody's voice that really needs to be heard. And sometimes being an ally actually means handing the microphone to somebody else. If somebody's offering me the microphone to speak, and I believe that there's a member of that community who can speak better to it, which everybody always can if you're speaking from your own experience. I also think that it's incumbent on us to teach ourselves and to learn about that community that we're trying to be an ally to. It's really important for us not to expect members of that community to teach us everything that we need to know. That is the beauty of the internet, is there is so much out there and so many great resources available that I think one way to be an ally is to educate yourself and come to conversations, not being an expert, because none of us are experts in experience other than our own, but just having done our own learning and then staying open to continuing to learn. First of all, I think parent-teacher associations and PTAs are superpowers in your own community. You are already motivated to create change, always looking for ideas about things to do, and really have energy and support amongst each other to be able to join together to have a really positive impact. I think it's interesting to think about different ways that you can have impact too, maybe different from what you've thought of before. And advocacy is one of those areas that you may totally be involved in already, but maybe not. And so that could look all different kinds of ways. And part of that might be getting curious about what is the experience of LGBTQ plus students in your school communities? What kinds of outward signs of support are there for LGBTQ plus students? What kinds of supports are there in terms of mental health, but also, like we already talked about, materials in school libraries? Are there any lessons being taught that kind of speak to that? And is health and wellness curriculum inclusive of LGBTQ plus identities too? So I know that kind of goes into other areas in terms of maybe like school board type areas or school administration type pieces, but that really is a place for that there can be partnership, and people might already have roles in those other areas who are also involved in the PTA. And our strength is so much greater when it comes time to prioritize different needs, which there are always a huge number of needs. People speaking up about the LGBTQ plus community, just in terms of making sure that they are a focus, and especially in terms of mental health, that they're being talked about specifically, can be a huge way to advocate that really can be 2 sentences, in an email or something like that, coming from the PTA. It doesn't have to be a big project. It can just be speaking up. It is that I am always learning, and I will never stop learning. Even as a parent of a child who identifies as non-binary, who I'm learning from all the time, there are always new things, and it's really important for me to check in with them about what their experience is like, and also not assume that their experience is the experience of everyone in the LGBTQ plus community. The LGBTQ plus community is a diverse community with lots of different members and perspectives, and not everybody's needs are the same. And I think as a middle class white woman, I have a whole lot of privilege that I'm bringing to the table, and which I'm increasingly aware of and trying to tune into how to use to help be a better ally. And I think one of the things that I've learned is that people with several identities in marginalized communities, so that could be someone who identifies as non-binary and Black, or it could be somebody who identifies as gay and Latina, or a variety of different identities. That is going to bring additional and different kinds of challenges than I face and that my kids face. And those are pieces we need to keep in mind in terms of any of our efforts to support students in schools. And I know we want every student to feel safe and able to learn. I have definitely made mistakes in my allyship. And so I think one of the things to keep in mind is that nobody is perfect, and it's okay to make mistakes, and fear of making mistakes shouldn't prevent you from being an ally. That's the most important thing. And when we might get it wrong, we can apologize and move on. And so I think just staying open and really asking, how can I help? How can I be an ally? And sometimes that means raising money and giving it to an organization that has been doing this kind of work for a really long time. Or it could be partnering with an organization that really knows the needs of that community, so that you make sure that your efforts are having the impact that you are really hoping to have.